Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Rooster here in Tennessee. We're going to look at something a little bit different today. Looking at a E.F. Johnson Viking Ranger transmitter. These are old units. This one, if I'm not mistaken, is made in 1956. I've had this one for a while, off and on. I say off and on because I traded it to a good friend of mine, and he ended up not using it. And I traded back for it here recently, and I had an amplifier that I wasn't using, and we just swapped them out, and I ended up bringing this thing back home, and I'm glad I got it back. Regretted the day I got rid of it because I did get it from a good friend of mine. I won't say who, but I will say she's one of the best radio techs in the country on older stuff, and known for working on Yazoo 101 radios, and this thing came from her, and I'm glad to have it back. Now, if you're watching this as a ham operator or somebody that's a big enthusiast on these, you probably know more than I do, but a lot of the crowd that watches my videos is Cb'ers, and I like to show equipment that maybe you don't see every day, or maybe you don't know anything about. And I'm not an expert on these myself, but I just want to do this video to kind of give people a look at something that maybe you don't see every day. These are transmitter only, so what that means is they don't receive. They don't have a receive function in them. They're output only. They only transmit. So they're in a big old cabinet. They weigh a ton. They use tubes. 6146 is the tube used for output. I think you can get them for about 50 bucks a pair, or maybe they're 50 bucks a piece. I don't recall, but that's what's used for the output. And there's several other tubes in there. They have tube type rectifiers if you don't modify them, but they can be modified to solid state. This big dial you see in the middle, it's not for looks. That's your channel selector. So you know, for us in the CB crowd, we're used to seeing, you know, 1 through 40. Not so lucky on this thing, since it was made in 1956. You have to know the frequencies, and suggested to run a freak counter on these so you know where you're at. Now, when these first come on, you're not going to be stabilized on frequency. They'll drift really bad because they do use a VFO to select your channel. But after sitting for about 15 to 20 minutes, I found that they stabilize pretty well. We'll go ahead and go over the controls on it, give you guys a look. Over here to the left, farthest left, we have our mode switch off, and then tune will it'll key the transmitter up so you can tune it for power. Phone is the position I put it in when I'm talking on it, actually talking over the air. Standby, you're not engaging the tubes or anything. It's just I guess you would say on a cool down mode. Even though it's still running, you still have power and filament and everything to the tubes. You're not actually engaging them to talk on. CW is just a mode, basically a dead carrier mode, not modulated. So going down here to the bottom is your drive control, which increases and decreases the top end and the carrier. So as the carrier goes down, so does the forward modulation, the forward power. You've got your crystal VFO selector next to that. Crystal selector. Your band selector, which is kind of cool. Maybe some people know, maybe some people don't know. These things come out with 11 meters in them, which means from the factory when they came out, they were ready to roll. They would transmit on CB. So that's obviously something that's outlawed now, or frowned upon, I should say. But these are very popular on the CB band. A lot of guys down on 6 love them. You'll hear them talking on their great big Johnson, and they're usually on one of these or a Viking Valiant, which is the bigger version. Coupling, auxiliary coupling, just in layman's terms, it's just a couple knobs that are help you tune the transmitter out. And then your audio, we've got it turned wide open right now. You don't have to turn it wide open. I've just got it cranked up there. I'm running a stock mic on it. It's probably run the audio a little hot because the transmitter doesn't need that much audio. It's got plenty. You don't have to run it wide open. Over here we've got our settings for our meter, left to right, you know, oscillation, buffering, grid, plate, and modulation. So you'll see different settings on it there. Now, I haven't read the manual in a while, but that's I think that's the idle current that's drawing. I'm not really sure. It could be filament or anything. I'm not 100% on that, so forgive me for that. I didn't do my homework before I did this. But now I know grid plate is your grid current, your plate current, and then modulation is it's just a little meter for modulation on the front, just like a regular radio. Okay. Two middle knobs here that are on each side. They're also used for tuning the transmitter. Now, the way I tune this thing is I just throw a carrier with it. I turn my drive control up, and I max it for max carrier on the watt meter. There's other ways to do it. The proper way to do it is I think you tune it like that, and then you look for a dip in the grid current. Basically, watching the grid current go down, and I believe when you do that, your power stays the same. But like I said, I always just tune it for, they say maximum smoke, just tune it for maximum output, and that's how I tune it. Alrighty, enough jibber jabbering about this thing. Let's look at the output on it. I've got a 50 watt bird slug in here right now, so we'll look at the middle scale, and just for the sake of the video, I'll turn the carrier wide open on it just so you can see what this thing will do. Over 50 watts. Barely. What we'll do, we'll take that slug out. And next one I've got up is a 500. I don't have anything smaller right now. So I'll put the 500 in, and what we'll do is we'll check it on peak power. That's not tuned for peak, so please keep that in mind. I didn't tune it for peak. Could probably get a little more out of it. We'll do it with the drive control wide open, and then we'll back the drive control down to 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, just to show you what it'll do. Okay, so drive control right now is wide open. Key a little bit over 50 watts. Audio 1 2 3. Hello, audio 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. Swing about 150. We'll turn the drive control to about 3 o'clock. Still keying over 50 watts. Audio test 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. A little bit less than 150. We'll go back to 12 o'clock. Audio test 1 2 3. Still keying almost 50 watts. Audio 1 2 3. Audio swinging 100. We'll go down to 9 o'clock. And now we see our carriers came down, and our output has came down as well. A little bit less than 20 watts. Again, we're looking at the middle scale. Hello. We're a little bit off frequency. You can hear it through the radio over here. Audio. Audio 1 2. There we go. Brought it back on frequency. Audio 1 2 3. Hello 1 2. Swinging about 30 watts average. 10 watts or so audio, or 30 watts peak, excuse me. Hello 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. 25 30 watts peak. Alright. And from there on, it'll just cut on down. It'll go down to basically nothing. You can run that drive control down as low as you want. It'll go down to about nothing. But alright guys, kind of a brief, I know it was almost a 10-minute video, but I could really go into detail about this thing, especially if I had a lot more knowledge on it. But you know, just like a lot of you guys out there, I'm just a Cb'er, so I'm not an expert on these, not a technician on them, and they're really complicated. Once you get on the inside of them, there is a lot to them. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Questions, comments, complaints, we welcome all three. And Hope to catch everybody out there on the air. Alrighty. Rooster in Tennessee. We'll see you now. Bye-bye.